pregnancy in Mauritius. Let's talk about it because I am pregnant with our sixth child, okay? And so I'm going to give you a whole timeline, whole breakdown so you understand my perspective, what we're doing, what our goals are, and let's just talk about it because it's super exciting. We live in Mauritius, obviously. We've been living here for 2 years now, and I am 4 months pregnant. So I'm 17 weeks. I'm going to be 5 months pregnant very soon here. We find out the gender soon, all of that fun stuff. But you're probably wondering, what's it like to have healthcare in Mauritius? What is the healthcare system like? What is pregnancy like in Mauritius? Like, what's going on? It's an island. Do they have good healthcare similar to America? Do they not? Is it good? Is it bad? So we're going to talk about all of that in this video. So I found out I was pregnant the same way anybody does. You take a pregnancy test and then you realize you're pregnant after having a missed cycle. And so then we went ahead and made an appointment. Now, Mauritius's healthcare system is fantastic. It's like really, really nice. The systems work. But again, this is coming from the perspective of someone that has lived abroad for over 5 years. And so this is not my first time giving birth abroad. It'll actually be my third time. By the time this child is born, literally half of our children, 3 out of our 6 children, will have been born in Africa. So we have given birth to 2 children in Tanzania, both home births, and both were actually high-risk pregnancies. So with my 4th child, but first home birth, my water broke early at 20 weeks in Tanzania, and I was put on bed rest, okay? Literally, if you were to go all the way back, you would find the videos. I was on bed rest from literally 5 months until 39 weeks when she came out on time, okay? Took a lot of prayer, but let me tell you, the Most High is great, and when you know your prayer points and you know how to get into the scriptures, everything is possible, anything is possible. So she came full term. That's my 4th child. Her name is Gianna, and she is 4 years old. So that was 4 years ago. Like, that's crazy. Next child, Zakaria. She was born in a different city in Tanzania. She was born in Tanga, again, home birth. Now, this one was a little more normal. I was able to hike up the mountains towards a cabin we were working on. I was able to go on my husband's motorcycle. I was doing all types of stuff up until 7 months when I started having contractions that really seemed like labor, and they lasted for 3 hours. So I went to the doctor the next day, and he was like, it actually seems like your cervix is starting to open a little bit early, but you're 7 months, you live in a small town. We're not going to be able to adequately help the baby because we have no NICU here because we lived in a small town there. So fast forward, went on bed rest, had the baby 39 weeks as well. All was well. So in pregnancy, you have to know when to just chill. You really have to know your body. You have to know when to chill. You have to know when to cut people off. You really have to know when to just seclude yourself so that you can bring a healthy life into the world. Now, 3rd pregnancy in Africa is obviously an island here in Mauritius, and the healthcare is fantastic. But I want to compare all 3. So I've given birth in America 2 times. No, 3 times. 3 times in America, 2 times so far in Africa. Then this will be my 3rd time in Africa. When I was in America, all of my children came naturally, all vaginal births. All of my children have been vaginal births. So they all came naturally. None of them were high risk until the 4th and 5th. So all of the first, 3rd one through 3, they were actually born via epidural. Fantastic. My labors go super, super fast. Now, when I lived in Ohio, I was about 15 minutes, if that, 10 minutes from the hospital, and I typically go into labor at night. And so usually you're not going to have a lot of traffic. It's pretty straightforward, pretty quick, fantastic. When we were in Tanzania, we knew we wanted to have a home birth, but if we did not want to have a home birth, the hospital would have been at least an hour away, even in Dar es Salaam. Then when we lived in the small city in Tonga, the hospital was like much closer, but again, it didn't have like super phenomenal. Again, it's a small town in Africa, so it doesn't have like super phenomenal healthcare, okay? Now here in Mauritius, we are literally like 10 minutes from the hospital. It's literally just, it's so close. It's very similar to the setup that it was in Ohio, where we lived very close to the hospital. The system here, one of the healthcare systems that you can use as an expat, it's a private healthcare provider, but still quite affordable when compared to America, is C-Care. C-Care is all across the island. But I should make this clear. C-Care, the actual doctor's office that I go to like check in with my doctor, is close, but the place that I would go or will go for labor and delivery is about an hour away. Unless there's traffic, it could be more. And so I'm sure there's not going to be traffic. It's probably going to be, well, hopefully not at 6 p.m. midnight, but hopefully a little bit later so that there won't be traffic all like that. But that hospital is similar to how it was in Dar es Salaam, where it's like, oh, it's an hour away to actually go to the labor and delivery. So although my actual doctor that I see for my pregnancy, to get my prenatals, to get my checks done, all of that stuff, although she is close by, she's literally like 10 minutes away. It's one of the C-Cares that they have out here. They have so many hospitals on this island, and that's something that'll shock you when you're here, because they have so many malls, so many hospitals, and you're like, it's just a little island. But their economy is so large. There's so much here, there's so much development, especially in healthcare, and they really have state-of-the-art systems. But even in Tanzania, I went to Aga Khan in Dar es Salaam, and that's like the best hospital in East Africa. And it's truly the best. Like, I didn't have any complaints, although they spoke Swahili and I spoke English, it was fine. Obviously the doctor speaks English, same thing here, although their native language is French or Creole. But typically the doctor's going to speak French, and it's going to be a regular Mauritian person, and it's a lady. She's fantastic. She's actually quite hilarious. When we went into the hospital for the first appointment, she was like, oh my gosh, you have an accent. Like, you have an American accent, like in the movies. I was like, it was just so funny. She's really great, really phenomenal. Who knows if she'll actually be there in the hospital. The hospital that I have to deliver at is down in Mocha, Mauritius. Now, to get to Mocha, Mauritius, you go like, from where I am, you go up into the mountains, but you're going south, okay? And so I have to go up into the mountains, go south. Depending on how the traffic is, that's my only thing. Like, I don't want to have a baby in a car, but my labors go so quickly that I'm like, oh gosh. Like, the moment I feel contractions, the moment that I feel anything, I'm at the hospital, like making our way down there. And I'm the type of person with every single baby, every single one, not one has been any different. This is why it's so important to know your body, know yourself. Don't listen to other people. They just have no idea what they're talking about because they can't, right? Because they're not you. Every single pregnancy, I know y'all see in the movies, or maybe for some people it's different. Their water breaks and they still have more hours. If my water breaks, it's literally time to push. Right when my water breaks, pushing comes like 30 seconds later. So that's just always how it has been for me from my first child, and it's gonna be like this with the sixth, because that's just how it is with my body, and so that's what it is. But Mauritius's healthcare compared to America, they're very similar in terms of quality. Now, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and every major city in America, typically the hospital is going to be crazily busy. Unless you were out in a super suburban country area that's far away and it's a smaller hospital, it may not take as long. But in Columbus, Ohio, you go to the hospital, it doesn't matter which one you go to in Columbus, there's a variety of them. They're always super busy. It's always like just a hassle to get there. The ER, these people, the ICU, you gotta go to the maternity floor. That's just what it is. Mauritius, it's much slower. The hospitals are not as busy. The hospitals function like clinics. So they still have an ER, they still have the regular systems. If you need to go to the ER, you can go through triage and be fine. You get your vitals, you go see the doctor, they'll admit you, whatever. They do C-sections here. They also did C-sections in Tanzania very accurately, or very much in a good way. There are C-sections, they have no problem with that in Tanzania or Mauritius, if that's something that you have to go through. I've never had a C-section and probably never will, hopefully, if y'all is willing. But you can get surgery here just fine, and it's gonna cost you way less. In Mauritius, for a C-section, it's gonna run you about $3,000 to $4,000. In Tanzania, for a C-section, in the small town I was living in, it would run you about $2,000. In Dar es Salaam, I'm not sure. It's probably between $2,000 and $4,000 because Dar es Salaam was a little bit more expensive than Tonga, Tanzania. And so that's just how that was because that was a small city. So yeah, I mean, there's not really that much that's different, to be quite honest with you. And I'm someone, I've again had 6 labors and deliveries, or will by the time I'm at the end of this pregnancy. And so I'm very well aware of different doctors, different prices. It's really pretty much the same process. There's not like a whole lot that's really different. The main difference is you're going to be paying a lot less. That's the most beautiful difference. So we have safety wing health insurance. Most digital nomads and expats do. Even retirees, when they first come over, they're going to get safety wing. Then they may convert to Swan or something else, or MU, whatever, MUA, whatever that healthcare insurance here is called. But they're going to have health insurance. But here's the thing. You're going to pay out of pocket first, and then you're going to call safety wing, call whoever, and do whatever rebate and say, hey, I had this appointment. Give them your receipt, or you can put it on the app, and then they're going to send you the money back if you choose. You don't have to do that because it's so affordable here. Here, an ultrasound is about $60, and also a consultation with the doctor is about $50 to $60. And so we just pay that out of pocket. I've had 2 ultrasounds already. The first appointment to actually see the baby and the viability, listen to the heartbeat. Their ultrasounds are fantastic. It picked up the baby literally dancing, and she was so shocked. She was like, why is your baby moving at 8 weeks, 9 weeks like this? Like, the baby was literally like in there, like, I don't know, she or he's listening to music. They're in there jamming. They're just enjoying their life moving. And I can already feel the kicks, because when you have multiple children, you feel the kicks earlier. And so this baby is super, super strong. I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing in here. This is the biggest I've been at 16 to 17 weeks. And so it's going to be really interesting to see the weight of this baby, because it's a big baby. I'm telling you, like, I can literally feel kicks and taps all the way up towards my belly button, even a little further above my belly button. And so in my experience, the doctors are quite adequate. They're quite thorough. I find them actually to be a little bit more thorough than America. And I believe that's because I've had women that are Africans. So they're literally African women. And so I think the healthcare in Africa is a little bit different. They're typically more willing to listen to you, or maybe they're just more aware. There's not that racism in the hospital that you experience in America, where it's a bunch of white men, they're acting crazy, they're being really weird. You may bring up an issue to them and they don't really listen. Or this happened with my 3rd child. They tried to like falsely diagnose you with stuff, or like, I know with my 3rd child, this guy was like, child, no, this doctor, he was a man, and he tried diagnosing our 3rd child with some type of, he said it was some type of like hernia on the ultrasound. Then when you go to the pediatrician, there's nothing wrong. Then at 39 weeks, in like 1 day, 1 or 2 days, he was like, well, you're gonna have to go in for a C-section. I was like, I'm literally 39 weeks. I'm not going for no C-sections. They get a little C-section crazy in the States, especially if you're a Black woman. If it's a normal birth, it seems like a lot of them just can't stand that you have natural, healthy deliveries. So they have to like do something extra to get an extra kickback, or like act crazy, whatever the case. With all of my children that I've had in Africa, I've not had that issue. When I tell the doctor I give birth vaginally, this is what I want to do, there's no pushback. There's no, oh, well, you're gonna have to get a C-section, I'm gonna induce you. There's no weird stuff like that. Even in Tanzania, where technically in Tanzania home births are illegal, the doctor was like, hey, just call me, come to me, I'll help you with the birth certificate, I'll help you figure out what you need to do. And everything was fine. We came in with the baby like maybe a week later, a couple days later. I think it was a week later, because we didn't cut the umbilical cord right away. And so it was a week later, and she was like, oh, everything went fine. Wow, I'm so shocked. Because she had been with me the whole time for that pregnancy, when my water literally broke at 20 weeks. And the people in Tanzania, Aga Khan, they were like, you cannot move out of this bed. Like, they were so serious. They were not playing. They were like, listen to me. Do not get up. for the rest of this pregnancy. Like, you cannot get up. And I was like, say less, I won't get up, it's fine. I will not get up. I'm the type of person, you do not have to tell me twice, okay? I will absolutely listen to the instructions. Absolutely. Look, if you say don't get up, I'm not gonna get up. And that's just what it is. So yeah, soon we find out what the baby is. And I already told you, I've already had 2 ultrasounds here. They just like to be very thorough, listen to the heartbeat. She was checking. I'd never seen somebody break it down like that. Actually, this Mauritian doctor, Dr. Pooja, she was saying that, like, she was breaking down each organ, and this organ looked like it was 14 weeks. That organ looked like it was 13 weeks. Everything looks great. She was showing me where my uterus was. She had really broken it down to an extent that I had not experienced really in America or Tanzania. Typically when I go into an ultrasound, they're quiet. They're just like, they're just like doing it themselves. And then it's usually, this is probably why as well, it's usually an ultrasound tech. Usually in both America and Tanzania, it's not the doctor doing the ultrasound. Here in Mauritius, my doctor does the ultrasound. She doesn't send me to a different ultrasound tech until this time around, then I'll go to a different floor. But she has the ultrasound right there, and she'll just do it herself to see how everything's going. So that's something that was actually different and better this time around, because I could just tell she was so thorough. Like, I just have never received that level of education in either America or Tanzania, with a doctor just like really walking through. Typically with the ultrasound tech does not have the healthcare ability due to their constraints. If they're an ultrasound tech or in radiology, they are not doctors, so they don't have the ability to tell you what's going on. They send you back to your doctor, and your doctor will just say, oh, yeah, it's good. But if the doctor isn't like literally doing the ultrasound right there, the doctor can't explain it. They're just reading the paper and telling you, yep, everything looks great, all done. That's very much how it is in America. Very much similar in Tanzania. Tanzania, especially in Dar es Salaam, Tonga too, their healthcare system is super, super, super busy. Theirs is busier than America. Okay, so theirs is like, it used to take all day, y'all. It used to take, I don't miss that. We would go to the doctor, and you just knew if you were going, whether it was the small town or the main city of Dar es Salaam, every single time, and I wouldn't miss an appointment, every single time you're going to sit there all day, because there's so many people, but there's not enough doctors. Here in Mauritius, there seems to be like a better ratio of patients to doctors, or maybe it's how their system is set up, but then also there's more hospitals. So there's that, which is really, really shocking, because again, it's a small island, but within every couple of miles, there's a hospital. But I'm telling you that I go to like the private clinic. So there are government hospitals that you can go to if you want care that's even more affordable. But I mean, this is affordable enough. I think it's great enough. I'm comfortable there. It's clean. It's very beautiful. I was looking at the images for the maternity ward down in Mocha, which is really exciting because it's so colorful. I've never seen a maternity ward that's so colorful and beautiful. So I'm really excited for that. I already told her I'm getting an epidural. This time around, I'm going to relax. I'm going to be having an epidural. And as it gets closer, I'll be telling her, hey, I'm gonna have to get to the hospital quick, because that's just, look, my labors take anywhere from 12 hours to 5 hours. And I always know when that transition is, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to get going pretty soon, because this baby is gonna come out, okay? And so yeah, that is our journey here in Mauritius, being pregnant. Super excited. It's super interesting to give birth on an island, to be pregnant on an island. It's something I never thought that I would do in life. It's super surprising, super fun, super beautiful, and this baby is very, very heavy, okay? So, show you my belly. You can tell that I'm literally out of breath. Like, the breath is not available because the baby is taking up my lung space, okay? So when you see me on YouTube, just know, the baby is taking up my lung space, and I don't have the lung capacity anymore and will not for a while. But yeah, so I can feel the kicks very far up. That was another thing she saw in the ultrasound. She was like, oh, I can see that your cervix is very long and closed. I've never had anybody tell me that before on an ultrasound, but again, It's because they were radiologists and ultrasound techs, so they can't really tell you that. She was just really giving me like a short anatomy class. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know you could like see all that on ultrasound, so that was really cool. But yeah, let me know your questions. Let me know if there's something you think I didn't cover. Just leave it down below and I will make a part 2. For anyone that is wondering when the baby's born, how do you get passports and things like that, it's a very simple process. Most countries have a U.S. embassy. Again, I've done this 2 times. You take the birth certificate from the hospital or from whatever government agency you get it from in that country. You take it to the U.S. embassy. Actually, you have to fill out a form online first. So you fill out the form online. I forget what the form is called. It's like DS11 something, but it's on the U.S. embassy site. You fill out that form. You pay, I believe, $150 at first, just for like the form itself to be turned in. Then you make an appointment. Then you come in, because we've already done this 2 times. Then you come in with the baby's photos, your birth certificate, marriage certificate, blah, 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 all that stuff that you need. And then they just issue you the baby's passport. It really happens pretty quick in my experience. Like in 2 to 3 weeks, they're pretty much done with the passports. We've already been to the U.S. embassy here before, and so this one is pretty fast as well. Very professional. It's in, what was that house called? I would have to ask my husband, leave it in the description. Hanley House or something like that, somewhere in Port Louis. It was much smaller, and so you just go in and you give the birth certificates. It's a really simple process, and so it's like a certified birth abroad paper. So you also get a birth certificate that's a certified birth abroad from like the State Department, the U.S. Embassy, and so the child would have 2 birth certificates. Then they have their U.S. passport. Done. Very simple. It's a very simple process. It's just like $250. It's not the regular passport fee. It's the passport fee plus that form or plus that paperwork. So when that time comes around, I'm sure we're gonna do an updated video on that, but that's literally the process. You just do it. Most things abroad really with healthcare, like I'm telling y'all, it's not a big deal. Like it's just not. I think unless you're like in Iran or Afghanistan or somewhere that's just like really, really insane, most things just aren't really a big deal. Most countries are equipped to allow you to have labor and delivery, because guess what? People have been giving birth for years, way before America existed. So America is clearly not the labor and delivery capital of the world. And it's just ironic how when all of this is happening while I'm pregnant, those 2 stories of the Black women in the hospital went viral, because they're like literally minutes from giving birth, and this racist nurse is just sitting there on the computer like, that's no. Like, I will stay right here on the continent. High-risk pregnancies, I'll stay right here on the continent. If I need anything, guess what? I'm going to the NICU here on the continent of Africa, period. That's just what it is, because you as an expat, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be at a private hospital that's just going to give you a 10 million times better quality of care, more affordable rates than the American healthcare system that is deeply, deeply flawed. So yeah, if it's me, I'm choosing Mauritius every day. Another place I would give birth in is Kenya. I would totally give birth in Tanzania again. Absolutely. I would definitely do that, because the healthcare is great. It's affordable. You can pay out of pocket. You can use your healthcare insurance. It's not very much different. Oh, one thing I forgot. They will prescribe prenatal vitamins in Africa. It's just weird that I even have to say these things, but people really are like, well, like how? What are the bad? Like, they literally do everything the exact same. I mean, literally. The main difference in healthcare, like your care and how they'll treat you, is in Africa, they're not searching for problems. So you do need to know your body. They're not searching to overly diagnose you with things. They're not searching to overly check you too many times and check your cervix and introduce bacteria. I know with my 4th and 5th children, especially since they were home births, I did not get checked the entire time. That may blow your mind if you've only had hospital births. I was not checked the entire time. My doctor did not check me at 36 weeks, 37 weeks, 38 weeks. They do not check you. They just let the process go. because they don't want to introduce bacteria. They don't want to be too invasive. That is one of the main principles that you will find in Africa. Typically, they're not going to be overly invasive if it's not an emergency, if they don't have to. Now, when my water broke with my fourth child in Tanzania at 20 weeks, they checked me then, obviously, because it was an emergency. And they like did the test and they're like, oh yeah, that's amniotic fluid. We tested the fluid, that's amniotic fluid coming out. That's actually your membranes that ruptured. And so they diagnosed me. I had a great resident there, fantastic, because we went to the ER at night. So yeah, African healthcare, in my experience, it's been fantastic. And I've been to the ERs. I've been to the ERs. I've been to the maternity ward in Tanzania. I've been here in Mauritius to the doctor. I've been to the ER here in Mauritius as well. It's very adequate. It's quicker than the ERs in America. They pay more attention to you than the ERs in America. They're more just empathetic and caring, and I think that's just that humanity thing that you encounter in Mauritius. I just don't, unfortunately, encounter that in America, which is one of the reasons I will never give birth in America again. Like, in America, in this economic climate, in this racist healthcare system climate, in America, no, not me. It won't be me. No, especially not with my learned experience and lived experience. This is why I'm so adamant about moving to Africa, traveling to Africa, because we've experienced all these things. So we know the adequacy of the healthcare system. They have ICUs, they have NICUs, they have doctors that have studied a lot of times in the UK, and then they come back to Africa. My